Imagine walking into a medieval village and seeing people in clothes that could survive decades of wear without ever tearing. But here's the thing, they weren't using modern machines, chemicals, or fancy fabrics. They had secrets about linen that we completely forgot, secrets that could change the way you think about clothing even today. Within the first 5 seconds, I need you to picture this. A peasant picking flax from the field with hands that barely bleed, spinning it into thread so strong it could hold a sword, and weaving it into fabric that felt softer than anything in your closet. But what if I told you the real magic wasn't just in the fiber? Every 20 seconds, I'll reveal another twist, the way they processed it, the strange rituals they performed, even the herbs they added that kept bugs away for years, or made clothes somehow breathe in summer and trap warmth in winter. And just when you think linen was just for peasants and monks, I'll take you into the hidden chambers of royal wardrobes, where kings and queens demanded fabrics so perfect that their secrets were guarded like treasure maps, because losing them could mean ruin. Along the way, you'll question everything you thought you knew about fabrics, durability, and even hygiene, because medieval people had techniques that science is only now beginning to understand, from sun bleaching that killed bacteria to washing methods that used no soap at all. And here's the final reveal, the exact method that made linen last decades, feel luxurious, and even protect skin in ways modern fabrics can't. Something right under our noses, ignored for centuries, but simple enough that anyone could use it today if they remembered the lost craft. By the end, you'll see linen not as just old fabric, but as a secret technology, a medieval supermaterial, and a story of human ingenuity that modern life completely overlooked. And you'll wonder, why did we ever forget this? But the story gets even stranger when you realize that medieval linen wasn't just about durability, it was about hidden science and subtle magic that everyone today has forgotten. Imagine walking into a medieval workshop where the air smells faintly of herbs and sun-bleached straw, and seeing artisans treating flax fibers with mysterious liquids that no one would think to pour on cloth today. Yet these same treatments made the linen resistant to rot, pests, and even stains that modern detergents struggle with. And here's a question that will make you rethink everything. Why did peasants' shirts last decades while our premium fabrics tear after a few washes? The answer isn't in machines or factories. It's in timing, patience, and knowledge passed down in whispers, almost like a secret code. Every few minutes, another twist emerges, like how they spun the flax using techniques that aligned the fibers so perfectly that linen could absorb moisture without feeling wet, keeping people warm in freezing winters and cool in blazing summers, all without electricity, heaters, or air conditioning. And then there's the ritual side. Before weaving, some communities would chant or bless the fibers, believing it infused the fabric with strength. And modern science now hints that certain herbs they rubbed into the fibers had antimicrobial properties, a hidden hygiene trick centuries ahead of its time. But the secrets don't stop there. Think of royal courts, where kings demanded clothing so fine it seemed almost impossible to touch. Some wardrobe masters would layer linen in specific ways, treating it with natural substances like starch, egg whites, or even fermented plant juices, creating a finish that shined, repelled water, and lasted through decades of wear. And the most shocking part? Many of these techniques were deliberately kept hidden, written in coded manuscripts or passed only from master to apprentice, because linen wasn't just cloth. It was a form of wealth, power, and survival. Imagine if a modern scientist discovered a 600-year-old method that could make your clothes last 10 times longer while naturally regulating temperature and resisting bacteria. Wouldn't that change the fashion industry overnight? The payoff comes at the very end. These aren't just lost crafts, they are forgotten technologies, simple yet brilliant, capable of transforming how we live, and all because medieval people had patience, observation, and respect for the materials around them. And now, as we uncover these secrets, you begin to see linen not just as old fabric, but as a symbol of human ingenuity, a reminder that sometimes the answers to modern problems aren't in new machines or chemicals, but in the forgotten wisdom of the past. And the question that haunts you as you watch, if they knew this centuries ago, why did we forget it? And how many other secrets are buried, waiting for someone curious enough to rediscover them? But what if I told you the linen secrets went beyond durability and comfort into something almost alchemical? Picture a quiet, dimly lit medieval workshop, where the sunlight falls just right on a table stacked with bundles of flax, each stalk meticulously selected for its length, texture, and even spiritual energy, according to old beliefs. and where every step, from retting to spinning, from bleaching to weaving, was a precise ritual that determined whether the fabric would become ordinary cloth or a linen that could last generations. Some fibers were soaked in water, drawn from specific wells, thought to have mineral properties that strengthened the threads, while others were exposed to sunlight in a very particular sequence, almost like a secret code written by the sun itself, giving the linen an unmatched luster and resilience. And here's a twist you won't see coming. Medieval people had ways to program linen for purpose, for instance, layering fabrics in a way that made garments absorb sweat but dry instantly, or treating the fibers with herbs that repelled lice, fleas, and even invisible bacteria, all without modern science knowing why these methods worked so well. Then, imagine the social impact. A peasant wearing ordinary linen might live a life of discomfort, while a cloth treated with these forgotten techniques could make survival in harsh winters possible, or even allow someone to travel long distances without their garments wearing out, a true life or death advantage. And just when you think it's all practical, the artistry appears. Some weavers would fold and dye linen so that it told a story, almost like a tapestry in miniature, using subtle colors from plant dyes that resisted fading for decades, yet no one today remembers how they achieved it without synthetic chemicals. But the most astonishing secret lies hidden in the manuscripts of royal tailors, who meticulously recorded measurements, layering techniques, and treatment recipes in code, ensuring that only the chosen apprentices could recreate garments that were soft, strong, and even subtly scented from the herbs they used, a combination of aesthetics, hygiene, and survival encoded into every thread. And this is where the suspense peaks. Modern scientists are only now starting to replicate some of these techniques, testing why linen made hundreds of years ago can still feel soft, repel pests, and regulate temp. Temperature naturally, while today's fabrics fail in days. By now you're realizing these aren't just textile tricks, they are medieval technology, long forgotten and hidden in plain sight, waiting for anyone curious enough to rediscover them. The shocking revelation at the end? The methods were simple enough that anyone today could revive them, yet centuries of industrialization and mass production erased this knowledge, leaving us with clothes that look better but function far worse. And as the story unfolds, the question lingers in your mind: if they could make linen that lasted lifetimes, protected health, and even conveyed status and identity, what else have we lost along the way, and how many secrets of survival, artistry, and science are buried in the quiet corners of history, just waiting for someone to pull them back into the light? And just when you think you've uncovered all the mysteries of medieval linen, another layer of secrets emerges, because this wasn't just about survival or luxury, it was about power, status, and even hidden messages woven into the very fabric. Imagine kings and queens demanding garments so perfect that only a handful of master weavers could create them, their techniques jealously guarded, passed down from one apprentice to another like treasure maps, and sometimes written in code to prevent outsiders from learning them. These fabrics weren't merely clothing, they were silent statements of authority, demonstrating wealth, intelligence, and access to knowledge that ordinary people could never touch. And the process to make them was almost ritualistic. Fibers were soaked, stretched, and sun-bleached in sequences timed to the seasons, spun to precise tension, and then layered with treatments that today's scientists would call nanotechnology before the word existed, because they changed how the fabric reacted to water, heat, and even touch. And here's a twist. Some linen was treated with natural dyes and herbal infusions that weren't just decorative. They carried medicinal properties, calming skin irritations, repelling pests, and even subtly boosting the wearer's health, almost like wearing a secret remedy under your clothes. Meanwhile, peasants had their own versions of these secrets, passed down in oral tradition, using the same basic principles but with local plants, sunlight, and water sources, proving that this knowledge wasn't just elitist, it was survival. But the tension rises when you realize that many of these techniques disappeared simply because industrialization and synthetic fabrics replaced the careful patience of handcraft, and entire generations forgot how to treat linen in ways that lasted decades. And yet, fragments remain, hidden in old manuscripts, illustrated guides, and even in the texture of surviving garments in museums, whispering clues about processes that are astonishingly advanced for their time. Imagine discovering a single surviving shirt, touched by generations ago, that still repels moisture, remains soft, and bears a faint scent of herbs, the exact result of techniques that are both scientifically brilliant and mysteriously artistic. The emotional twist? We are living in a world where fast fashion dominates, yet we've lost a craft that could make clothing healthier, longer lasting, and even more beautiful. A craft that could reconnect us to centuries of wisdom if only we chose to remember. And as the story builds toward its climax, the final question hangs over every revelation. If medieval people could achieve all this without modern technology, what other secrets of daily life, health, and survival have we ignored, buried under the rush of convenience? And how much richer could our world be if we simply relearned the forgotten skills hidden in the fibers of history?